breaking news. The Panthers signing safety Eric Reid to a one-year contract. He's been a free agent since this offseason after spending the first 5 years with the 49ers. Now, he was one of Colin Kaepernick's most vocal supporters, kneeling alongside the former quarterback to protest racial equality and social injustice during the national anthem. For more on this breaking news story, we bring in NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport as we digest the news that Eric Reid has signed a one-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. And Ian, how is it that now Eric Reid has found a job with the Panthers after so many months, 6 or more months or so, of looking for a job?
Well, it simply became a situation of a team like the Carolina Panthers with a serious need. Searcy went on injured reserve earlier in the week with a concussion. The Panthers simply needed a safety. He was the top free agent safety available, as he actually has been for several months, but it got to a point in the season there were simply no other options for the Panthers, and they made what is being described to me as a football decision. And this is a team that it's not like they ignored Eric Reid in the past. Remember, they tried to sign a corner in free agency. They signed Searcy in free agency rather than Eric Reid. So it's not like this has been a need beforehand. It just became a need for them this week. And, of course, it also took an owner like David Tepper, new to the NFL, but pretty outspoken in his belief in, one, players themselves, how they work in the community, the kind of knowledge they have, the kind of good things that they've done on the field and off the field, but their right to protest as well. It took an owner willing to make that leap, and it took a general manager, in Marty Herney, and a coach in Ron Rivera to say, we're not worried about anything else. We are simply worried about making this football decision. And by the way, as far as the other things that this will entail, it is a one-year deal for Eric Reid and for the Panthers. He had been seeking $3 million a year. We're not sure if he actually got that from the Panthers. Financial terms not yet available, but that is the ballpark of what he had been seeking. Obviously, would be prorated a little bit because we're several games into the season. He is coming in as a starter. He is going to play a lot. He's someone who they believe is a physical safety, a playmaking safety, someone who's going to come in and help the football team right away. And for the Panthers, they just got a lot of help in the secondary.
How much of it has to do with football and how much of it has to do with his stance in kneeling during the national anthem that has created this employment gap for him that now he's finally landed a job there with the Panthers?
Well, no doubt his stance, his vocal support of Colin Kaepernick, his decisions in the past, we'll see going forward, but in the past to kneel during the national anthem is obviously something that kept a lot of teams away. We'd be blind to say this is just something that didn't affect them. You don't have a player this talented, despite the depressed safety market this year that saw guys like Kenny Vaccaro sign for less than $2 million. You know, there's no way that Eric Reid would be available at this point had he not been so vocal regarding his stances regarding Colin Kaepernick and his thoughts on the national anthem. That said, from what I am told, there really were not many discussions, if any discussions, with the Carolina Panthers on what he's going to do during the anthem. This was a football decision. They stuck to football, and this obviously is in contrast to what the Cincinnati Bengals did early in the offseason, where he came in. They liked him. It seemed like they wanted to sign him. They talked to him about what he would do during the anthem, did not love the answer, apparently, and then decided to go in a different direction. This one, they stuck to football, and now the Carolina Panthers have a very good football player.
All right, Ian, we are also joined now by phone with one of our reporters, Tiffany Blackman, who's also been following this story as well. And Tiffany, how do you think this decision is going to be received in the locker room there in Carolina?
I think it's going to be received very well within that locker room. You know, we did hear from receiver Torrey Smith this week, very vocal about how Eric Reid, you know, needs to be on a team. He said he's one of the best guys that he knows. And you look at his track record, that's something that I just had the chance to speak with head coach Ron Rivera about. And, coach told me that he was the best veteran guy that is out there. And he said, you look at the last few years, everything that he's done, this guy was a Pro Bowler. Rivera told me he's a veteran guy that should be able to pick things up quickly. And that's the biggest thing for this secondary right now, because there's a lot of inexperience. They needed somebody with experience to go along with Mike Adams that they had there. Now that Denoris Thursey's been placed on IR because he had his second concussion in a month. So the biggest factor in this was, one, he's the best guy on the board. And then the other thing Rivera telling me is that experience factor. And they wanted someone that's going to be able to come in and, again, pick things up quickly on this defense. And I think Eric Reid is going to be a huge factor for them in terms of being able to do that. Having that veteran presence is going to be really important with this group of guys.
Again, some people on the outside may look at this potentially as a distraction potentially on Sunday, but it seems like they're in Carolina. They have the perfect support system and the perfect way to deal with a signing like this, Tiffany.
They do. This team has handled a lot of adversity, over the last few years. So I feel like they're equipped to do this. They have a lot of veteran presence, maybe not, with Mike Adams in the secondary, but just as a whole, this entire team has been equipped to handle a lot. You saw how they had to handle Jerry Richardson, their owner, now, him having to sell the team last year. I think that they've been able to navigate some things, and as a locker room, they have a greater sense of just togetherness. They've been able to unite through adversity, and I think we'll see it play out with this. Not to call this a controversial move at all by any means, but I think this team knows how to handle situations like this. And if any team is equipped for, the thousands of questions, the more amount of reporters that are going to be showing up for this, I think it's the Carolina Panthers.
And Panthers owner David Tepper actually told CNBC, and this is just a direct quote from him, these are some of the most patriotic people and best people. These are great young men. He went on to say, to say that they aren't patriotic makes me so aggravated and angry. It's just wrong. It's dead wrong. So, Ian, to bring you back in, how do you think the approach is going to be on Sunday when it comes to the pregame aspect of this?
That still remains to be seen. No firm word on what Eric Reid may do during the national anthem. And, of course, the landscape has changed a little bit since he first, obviously, sort of came to the forefront as someone kneeling during the national anthem along with Colin Kaepernick. Now there's no current policy in place, but it's very clear that a lot of players have either decided to not kneel or to move into the locker room during the anthem. Only a couple players, specifically on the Miami Dolphins, Kenny Stills is one, Albert Wilson is another, who actually have been kneeling. So perhaps there's been a change in Eric Reid, but we will see. We just saw a picture of him signing, and he had a fist raised. So it's not like he has gone into hiding or put away his beliefs. He still is and believes in what he has believed in. We will see what actually happens during the anthem. Not this week, the Panthers are on a bye, but the following week.
And how soon do you think he'll be ready to play, Ian?
Oh, he'll be ready. He's coming in as someone who is expected to either start or play a lot as a safety for them. And he was in shape. I know he has worked hard during this process just in case this kind of call came. And by the way, we should also mention that, of course, there is the collusion lawsuit that he has against the NFL right now. I'm told his position on that lawsuit remains unchanged based on his signing, so that will not affect anything going on in the courts right now. Now for the Carolina Panthers, they know they just got a good football player in their building.
All right, Ian Rappaport, Tiffany Blackman, we appreciate it. Of course, we'll have much more throughout the day here on NFL Network. A TNF First Look at 3 Eastern as well. Once again, the Panthers signing safety Eric Reid. Now more Good Morning Football.
My name is Jeff Sheldon, and I'm the founder